We had a customer who's bought a 72 Charger, brand new. He still has the original car, original owner. And it's also one of the engines I built for him too. 72 Charger 440. And he had a cluster with no tach. So I got him a tachometer. I installed it in the original cluster. Changed the 2 gauges to make it work all together as a set. And now we're gonna go put it back in his car. Here it is. Let's all put it back now. This is one hell of a job. I have a shop here that I work with a lot of old cars, and a lot of times I build and restore engines of the American V8. And some people, when I rebuild their engines, they want a little bit more horsepower, sometimes 100, 200 horsepower more. To do the job properly, you gotta remove the whole dash, put on the bench and set it up. But I'm doing it the hard way, so I gotta make sure I plug every light bulb in the right location. You know, we do some general mechanics for these muscle cars also, and we do partial restoration. We had a few guests came into the shop this week, and they were looking for me, and I asked them what can I do for them, and they told me they're vacationing in Montreal and they wanted to come by the shop and see my shop. And I said, where are you guys from? We're from Newfoundland. And I didn't know they were watching me on YouTube. It was overwhelming to see them. And they took a few pictures with me. They took a few pictures of a few cars we had in the shop. And it was overwhelming. Very nice. It was there. Here's another orange. Nope, I didn't expect that. Visitors from out of town just to come see the shop. It's only a shop, nothing special. But then again, they were happy to see me. You know when it's a nice sunny day on a Saturday? And where does everybody go? In the auto, at Nick's garage. Do you blame them? No, you can't blame them. We all enjoy coming here, so can't say anything. Of course, nobody works on Saturdays except me. And what do? They come for a ride down to Indie Auto. I got like 7 cars out here. I don't know where to start. They don't come with just 1 or 2 items. They always come with a list. Take example, these 2 cars across the street that I got parked, they both have like about 8, 9 items each one. So you see, they see you fix one thing, then you want to fix everything else. Which is nice, I don't mind. But I don't have the time to do all that. So, I'll get them done. I come work late on nights. I work Saturdays.
Nick did a great job building this motor. Couldn't be better.
Can you fix this for me? Can you fix that for me? Always try to help, but then again I get overloaded and I gotta start learning how to slow down. One day.
Today, however, isn't that day. Nick's got lots to do.
We have a client who brought a 340 engine in. We're just dyno testing it for him. It's not one of my builds, but we're just gonna test the motor for him because he wants to know what horsepower he's gonna get out of it. So right after this, I gotta go do the dyno session and get that done also.
Nick's able to fix pretty much anything that his customers can drive into the shop. But his favorite has always been classic American muscle. And for Nick, the best part about working on them is getting in the dyno room.
I've got caffeine in my blood. Maybe it's the Greek coffee, I don't know. But when it comes to building an engine and putting on a dynamometer, that is my favorite.
The 340 on the dyno today wasn't built by Nick. It's not unusual for Nick to have other engine builders in the city bring their builds in for testing before they go back into their vehicles. And renting out his dyno services help Nick maintain this expensive piece of equipment.
All right, I'm gonna start her up, warm it up, and then we'll do some testing. Air fuel ratio.
Nick had already taken care of this engine's break-in and initial tuning the day before. So today, when the client could be here to see his engine, all they had to do is warm it up and make a few pulls to check the numbers. No strange noises, no leaks, no vibrations. The 340's looking good.
Okay, we're gonna make a pull up to 6,000. Special one for today. Warm it up, break it in for now. Some engines that come in here go well, and some do not go well at all.
Here's the story of another engine that Nick didn't build. A big block V8 that's destined for life in a powerboat. But first, it's making a mess of the dyno room.
Oh well, what a cleanup we gotta do. Well, a client of mine brought an engine in here, so he wanted me to make a test on the dynamometer with it. But I put the oil in the motor, I put my drill to prime the engine, and unfortunately my client forgot to put 2 plugs on the oil gallery. So I was in the back of the block there, you know, I'm standing here with the drill, and I'm priming and I'm wondering why it has no pressure. Then I put down the drill, I walk in the front, and I go, whoa, what happened there? What a mess. We lost about 4 liters of oil through this routine here. But anyways, we caught it before we got it running. Anyways, that's why they bring him here. Bring it to the dyno, set it up, and let's see what happens. And in many cases, when an engine comes in from outside, I find problems before we look for horsepower and torque. And like you see in this issue, before we even got it running, all we did was prime the engine and we had a problem. The plugs were forgotten in the front. That's a no-no. Every engine builder should prime an engine, make sure you have good oil pressure, low external oil leaks, before it brings it to a dyno room.
The oil dump turned out to be just the beginning of the issues with this engine.
Here goes. Oh, already a problem.
What was supposed to be a break-in and test run turned out to be a list of issues for Nick to track down and diagnose.
This one's working. Not really. I've got a lot of ticking noise underneath the valve cover, so we're going to remove the valve cover, see what's going on. I don't know. Cam worn out, or somebody didn't put the rockers on correct. And one way to find out, let's remove the valve cover, crank it over, and we're going to see. Let's see what's going on. This is a hydraulic cam. Should have no lash. This one's not good. What's going on with this one? That's the noise I'm getting. Look at this one. It's up to the side, eh? That's where it should be. But it works like that. Sorry, I'm trying to break in the camera. I'm looking for problems. It's running very lean, and I got a vibration, and I got noises on the valve cover on the right side. So I got 3 issues. And this is the carburetor I use all the time for every engine I break in. I don't have any issues whatsoever. But for this guy, I don't know why. Something's not correct. You must have a vacuum leak somewhere. Let me see if that intake manifold's tight.
It can be frustrating trying to run engines that he hasn't built himself. But Nick always manages to get problems solved, even when they were not part of the plan. It turned out that among other issues, this 454 had been assembled with the wrong intake manifold gasket.
Oh, I've got all kinds of engine builders that come here. Some guys know, some guys don't know. Some guys, they think I guess what they built. And sometimes, you know, when you got an engineer that you did not build, and the guy's telling you to run it to 8,000 RPMs, sometimes you wonder, should I take it at 8,000 RPMs?
When some new guy walks in with an engine he's put together, Nick never knows what he's going to get. But when longtime friend of the shop, Adam, brings one of his racing mills in for testing and tuning, Nick knows it's time for something special.
And sometimes we get an engine that comes in that's definitely not for the street. It's like for a dragster, and it runs on alcohol, 1,000 horsepower plus. We bring it in, install on the dynamometer. We set up our fuel for the alcohol. It was a temporarily fixed at that moment when we did the job.
The engine has a very sophisticated fuel delivery system, but Nick's tank isn't set up for alcohol, so this bucket gravity feed setup will do for today.
But it was a very loud engine.
Adam's beast is running beautifully. Just a little timing and jetting the carbs away from perfect. Well, as perfect as any constantly evolving machine can be. But that's what this racing addiction is all about.
We've been drag racing for almost 20 years. This engine, since 2011 we started getting the drag race in the Dragster. Before we were the door car guys. But this speed is very addictive. It's worse than any crack cocaine that you could ever take. It's a good addiction. Life is short. Good, good. We're there. We said 1,000, it made 1,007. Not bad. Good, we're done.
And I've got a few more engines to build. So you have a few more to see coming in the future on videos on a few engine builders that I got here. And when they're done, we put them on Dyno and then put them back on YouTube.
Nick's friends and customers keep bringing him engines. Some to test, some to build, and some to fix. You can see them all right here on Nick's Garage.
And stay tuned, there's more power to come.